Howdy, folks. Wheat Walls from NeedCoffee.com here. Back again for another Wayhomer. Excuse me while I adjust the air. There'll be a little bit of that. It is still summer. We are still in Atlanta. Back again for another Wayhomer review. Here's how this works. I just left the cinema, where I've seen a film, and I'm going to tell you about it on my way home. It's pretty simple. And today we're here to talk about Conan, the Barbarian. I'm not taking off my glasses to do the little bridge across the nose 3D symbol, because, get this, Fandango listed the 120 performance showing. It's not like they were live. It was like not like a musical or something. Conan, the musical, gonna cut you out of your mother's womb. No, the showing of that was supposed to be 3D at 120. On Fandango it said it was. Get here, it's not, okay? Then apparently they had a 10:45 a.m. showing which was in 3D, which was not on Fandango, alright? Mention that to the AMC people, not really bitching, but more like, you're going to have confused people showing up, you might want to contact somebody somewhere and say, get your times right. And the response I got was, oh, well, Fandango's times are never right. You should check movietickets.com. So is this some kind of pissing contest between Fandango and movie tickets or something? And apparently AMC does not care that their times are wrong on a major movie time website. That's great. That's wonderful. So that AMC coupled with the baby in the movie, in a Conan movie, okay? And I'm not talking, first of all, we are talking Conan the Barbarian, not the Conan O'Brien documentary, Conan Can't Stop, or whatever the hell it's called. All right, just to make sure. Because the cutting of the womb thing would be really weird in that documentary. But no. So that, and the guy who answered 2 phone calls behind us, and the people talking. That's why no one wants to go to your movies anymore, AMC. Come on, please. We paid $9. Have some ushers or something. Even Usher, I don't care. Just the singer, Usher, telling people to shut up. I would be fine with that. Cutting out of the womb. All right, here we go. So, Conan O'Brien. I was about to say Conan O'Brien. Conan the Barbarian. Okay, synopsis. Synopsis is this. It's some other time, which it always is in fantasy films. Before now. Before, you know, civilization. And people had swords and beards and lots of hair and didn't wash a lot. That's how you know that it's another time, is because people are very dirty. And there apparently was some kind of super powerful sorcerer mask thing that was used to almost conquer the world, but the barbarians rose up and kicked their ass, kicked the mask people's asses, and then broke up the mask into bits. Because you never take a super weapon and actually destroy it, you just break it up into bits that can be scattered around the land so that somebody can fulfill some prophecy centuries later and put it back together and try to kick your ass again. Because that's how it works, right? That's what you do with super weapons. Just like you're a Bond villain, you have to describe your plan to Bond before you try to kill him and fail. Every super weapon must be broken up into bits so that you can go. Either that or it's a setup for a video game. Either way. But no. So, mask is broken up into bits. Life goes on. The aforementioned prophesied, and not just by me in this car, but actually there was a prophecy saying, someone will rise up and put the mask back together and try to kick your ass. And I think it was said just like that, but Morgan Freeman probably said it, which made it sound a lot cooler than what I just did. So, that happens. Conan as a boy gets orphaned and spends the rest of his life looking for revenge, and gets on the trail of revenge, and gets on with doing that revenge. So that's your synopsis. So, here's the thing. First of all, I would like to apologize to Jason Momoa. First of all, because I have a feeling I just mispronounced his name. And second of all, because the trailers for the movie just made it look like, I don't know. I just wasn't really impressed with the trailers as putting forth the idea that this was a Conan that could, like, kick serious ass, right? Because the problem is, I grew up with the Schwarzenegger Conan, who steroids or building whatever, lifting bulls or whatever it is he did before each shot to make himself look inflated. So he was this huge dude, right? I mean, you've seen the pictures. If not, kids, ask your parents. Huge dude. Not the shriveled guy who's the former governor, but a huge dude, right? And it's kind of like in that last Rambo movie, that wasn't very good. But the one thing about it that was impressive was the fact that Sylvester Stallone, through the use of steroids, admittedly, had turned himself into this bear of a dude. That there's this one scene where he comes hauling ass out of this line of trees. And if you had seen that guy coming at you through a line of trees, you would piss yourself because you'd be so terrified, right? You look at Jason Momoa initially when he's not flipping around with a sword and doing a blue thing, and it's not initially very terrifying. Granted, you still wouldn't want to try to take his lunch money, but it doesn't have the same level of, wow, I am so going to die, that facing down somebody like Schwarzenegger like that goes. Maybe it's the fact that Schwarzenegger, could barely speak English at the time or something, and Jason does. I don't know. But my apology is that he proves that he can do it. In my mind, he completely owned the role. And the role is not the Schwarzenegger Conan. They've created, it's kind of like, and I'll get somebody else needs to comment on how close, if at all, it followed the book, other than there was a dude named Conan, he had long hair and a sword, never wore a shirt. I mean, that may be the entirety of how close it is to the books. I have no idea. But this feels like they're trying to do a Conan Begins type of thing, right? Like with Casino Royale and like with Batman Begins. They're trying to just completely go back to a different type of character and do it. I mean, he's not, I don't want you to get the impression that he picks flowers or something like that, or when he's not slashing people open, practices the violin. That's not what I'm talking about. It just feels a little different than the Schwarzenegger Conan, and it works. He's more flippy, right? He's more flippy. He's more thinking. He's more, not that Schwarzenegger is, I don't want to, just bang on Schwarzenegger as he's stupid. I don't think he's stupid, but the character, there's more thought going into, all right, how can I intelligently kick your ass and slice you open, if that makes sense. So he completely owns the role, all right? And, again, so that's fine. I want to get the apology out of the way first. We'll talk about the other cast in a minute. But the main thing is, with a film like this, you have certain things that you want from a fantasy film, right? Like this. I mean, you want big dudes with swords. You want colorful bad guys with evil weapons. You want an evil plot. Evil plot type of thing. You want, boobs are optional, but are nice, right? It's fine. And then you have evil women as well. There's got to be evil women to balance it off. Not that, boobs are balanced with evil women, but you know what I'm saying? You got to have the good and evil balanced. And then you need to have fighting. Really cool fighting. You need a couple of cool, weapons. Like, if you saw the anime sword in Brotherhood of the Wolf, that was a cool weapon. So you need a cool kind of novel weapon. So it's not just swords you're trying to smack people with. So you got that, right? You need a couple of monsters to deal with. You need, revenge, and you need some magic, and you need some stuff like that. So there's certain little checklists that you go through. Now, the good news that I have for you is that if you follow that checklist, if you're like me and you're a sucker for fantasy films, if you put dudes with swords on horses and you just send them off on quests and you're good with watching that, for example, if there's a difference. You've got Legend, right, which is kind of artsy and up here and stuff and has great performances like Tim Curry as the devil and stuff. And then down here you've got Willow, which is a fan favorite and is still kind of awesome because of all the craziness that's in it. And then somewhere down here you've got Hawk the Slayer, right, with Jack Palance and the dude who plays Hawk, I remember his name. like Hawk the Slayer. So if the idea of me saying, if I just said the words Hawk the Slayer and you just got a little thrill, all right, then you're totally down with this movie, okay? And because it hits all the things that it's supposed to hit, all right? And will make you happy if you're a fantasy freak. Now, part of the other thing about this is that you've got a good cast in there to sell it. And by that I mean you've got Stephen Lang, who is quickly becoming the go-to. You thought he was going to be like the next Arlie Ermy, right? Because you were always going to see him in military fatigues, and he was always going to be trying to kick your ass with weaponry and guns and stuff. But you make him into an evil sorcerer swordsman dude, and he's actually pretty effective. In fact, I kept forgetting that it's that Avatar guy. But then he would kind of scowl in the right way, and I would go, oh yeah, that's totally the Avatar guy. So he was good. Rose McGowan, kind of creepy, right? And the secondary characters, they're decent. But and the world they created, oh, that's the other thing about a fantasy film. You've got lands and cities and things that seem like they were randomly created by some fantasy random name generator, and all you need is it's just the name of this is Kobayashi Calabac or something like that, and it just comes up on we ride to Kobayashi Calabac, and it comes up on the screen, and you see some city, and it could look like anything. What the hell is Kobayashi Calabac supposed to look like? And you ride up to it, and you don't care, because you're in a fantasy film, and you don't know what any of this means. So you've got plenty of that, but it looks great. The art looks great. The costumes are pretty wicked looking, so that's pretty cool. The problem that you run into is that if you're going to have one of these films, you set up a sort of internal logic for the film. You set up rules for your universe. And if you've said something is going to happen, and if you set up the entire film about, well, when we do these things and we put these things together and we pour this stuff on it, then it'll blue, and things will happen. And if you do all of that, if we follow you doing that, and you've made such a big deal about how the blue is going to be pretty exciting, and you do it, and there's absolutely no blue, and then fights happen, and you're going, any minute now, blue, any minute, where's the stuff for the things, and then it's like, wow, that's the most anticlimactic, you're terrible. What was this? I mean, not even any setup for it, like, well, I have to let the evil mask charge or something. I mean, I have to plug it in. It has to get sunlight for like an hour before I can turn it on. I mean, anything to explain why blue. But no, you don't get that. So, certain other things like, well, why is this person suddenly important, and why isn't this happening now? And I thought this was all going to come together, and it just feels like they, I don't know, ran out of steam before the final sequence. Which is a shame, because I was actually enjoying it up until that point, because you had so many nods back to like 80s fantasy, especially when you consider that one of the opening sequences when Morgan Freeman is talking in his very serious Morgan Freeman voice, and you see this, and there was this evil place called, I forget what the hell it's called, Kobayashi Calabac, and you see a miniature of Kobayashi Calabac. It's so obviously a miniature, and then it's literally like somebody took an M80 and set it off in the middle of it. It's like, it was brilliant. I laughed and I went, yes, yes, I understand what you're doing. You are calling forth the gods of 80s fantasy to say, yes, we understand where we're coming from, and yes, we're going to have some more ultra-violence and stuff you couldn't deal with otherwise, but we're going to have a good time. And I was totally on board with that until the internal logic just started to completely fall apart at the end of it. So, a couple other things. First of all, Jason Momoa, this is funny, and I have to say this, is because I was trying to explain to Thespia, who's holding the camera, who he was. I said, oh, he's Khal Drogo in Game of Thrones. Her reaction was, oh, I thought I'd seen him in eyeliner before. Brilliant line. Also, I wanted to say, Leo Howard, who plays the young Conan, is great. He also sold it and was really good in the opening sequences when he's a kid. So that was really nice. So all of that to say, it's not an irredeemable film. It's not a bad film. it just, it was an entertaining film, and then sort of fell apart. It was, again, still entertaining, because you can still get off on swords and whatever. But you're still, the back of your mind is starting to wake up going, why, wait a minute, what is all this about, and why hasn't the brew happened? So I think that's my main problem with it. Is that I wish there had been some framework for the way they set up the ending to actually make sense in the context that they themselves set up. And, yeah, I mean, that's it. Now, what I would say is, like I said, if your idea of a good time is Hawk the Slayer, then by God, you're going to love it, and you're not going to care because, I mean, you like Hawk the Slayer. And I'm not putting you down. I love Hawk the Slayer. So I'm saying that just bear in mind what level you're talking about here. You are guaranteed a good time if you like Hawk the Slayer and that sort of thing. If you wanted a little bit more from that, then, I don't know, maybe you're fine with going for a rental. Let your conscience be your guide. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Conan the Barbarian. As far as cups go, I was giving it a solid 3 until it started completely falling apart. And I got to dock it half a cup for that and take it down to 2.5. It was just, because 2.5 because it sort of delivered along the lines that I was expecting, and it looked like, for the longest time, it looked like it was going to do just a little bit more than that and completely satisfy, and it didn't. And I think I enjoyed it more than most people would because, again, I am a complete freak for fantasy films like this, and they can be bad, whatever. Used to watch them on 80s VHS all the time. It was great. Not like 80s VHS, it's a type of VHS. There's no 2011 VHS. I mean, there is, but there's nothing special about it. Maybe there is, I don't know. It's gold plated or something. I don't know. Anyway, so there you go. 2.5 stars. Give it a miss if you must. If you dig Hawk the Slayer, you're probably already in line. So, that's that for another Wayhomer. It's a busy weekend this weekend. Trying to get another 2 of these done because there's just stuff that needs to be seen. So, it just falls to me to say thank you to everyone who watches these things, who enjoys them. Just remember, if you do enjoy these things, it's very simple to help out and do stuff like help me pay for the tickets and the gas, which I desperately need to get some, for the car and stuff, and insurance for people like that who obviously aren't paying attention or are trying to, what are you honking for now? You didn't die. Anyway, I have no idea what's happening. Welcome to Atlanta. So, rip that child right out of my womb. So, what I would say is, if you do want to help, there's a couple ways. Obviously, if you share these things and spread the word about them, that's lovely. If you want to basically contribute the amount that's about the same as an iTunes song, about 99 cents a week, you can go to needcoffee.com/support and set that up there. Or if you'd like to become a full-fledged sponsor and become one of the reasons why Need Coffee will always remain free to read, then you can do that at needcoffee.com/sponsorship. And hopefully I will remember to put those on the screen as I said them. So until next time, since I've stopped at a red light and I can actually say something to you before we get going again, I'll say, see you next time. Probably in a few hours. Bye. Oh, there is one last thing, and this is important. There's another apology for Jason Momoa, is that, dude, I hate to break this to you, but your nude scene, your ass shot in the film. Now granted, this was not a big crowd for a 120 matinee. However, your ass shot garnered 1 clap. Just 1 single clap from somewhere down in front of us and to our left. So you entertained somebody with that ass, is what I'm saying. So, good on you. You have 1 more clap today than I did for my ass, I guess. I'm not going to show you my ass to prove it, but just trust me. So there you go, Jason. 1 clap for you, buddy. Congratulations.